Hi everyone, so this is part 3 of the White Hats. And so there's a loud boom in Livy's apartment, and it's 17 p.m. at night, and she wakes up and she's like, oh man, like, what's that noise? So she goes and investigates it. So when she goes outside of her apartment, she hears people yelling stuff like, find that bitch, Skinner, where did she go? And then when Livy looks next to the dumpster, she sees Stereo, the hero, knocked out, like still in her hero uniform. So Livy uses her telekinesis to pull her into Stereo into her apartment to get her to safety, because she knows at this point that this hero has been attacked by a villain. She don't know who it is, but she wants to get her to safety because obviously, she's a white hat. So she's like, oh, this would get me brownie points, and plus she really does care about Stereo too. So then Livy lays Stereo on the bed. She is bloody and beaten. So she's been beaten too. Livy doesn't know if she should remove Stereo's mask, the hero, and Livy decides to remove her mask. So she removes her mask, because she's gonna doctor her up, and she's quite bloody on her face, so the mask needs to come off. And then when she looks at Stereo's face, she realized that it was the woman at her job that she'd been talking to at the counter. So that's who Stereo is. And then she was like, "Oh man, this is the girl at the counter. She's Stereo, whoa." So anyway, she snaps out of that. She gets pads and washcloths, and she wipes her down, and she give her ointment and banishes her up and puts her on a cot in the front room. And then Livy goes to sleep, and she's like, well, when she wakes up tomorrow, I'll let her know what's going on. So the next day, Livy wakes up to check on Stereo, and then she just sees like a bloody pillow, the bloody cot, and she's not there. So she's like, oh, where is she at? And then like she's like, ouch, like, and then Stereo takes Livy into a headlock, and she's like, Stereo's like, quickie mark, girl, why am I in your dwelling? And then Livy tries to use her powers to get Stereo off of her, but Stereo is already in her mind, so she's like controlling her mind and messing with her head and stuff. And then Stereo throws Livy onto the ground, and Livy starts to vomit because having your mind taken over by a powerful people with power is like it's traumatizing. So she's throwing up at this point, and Stereo's like, well, like, why am I in your apartment? And then Livy's like, oh, these men, they try to attack you, so I hid you in here so they wouldn't kill you, so I'm actually a friend. And then Livy goes, your head was bloody, so I didn't want to like not take off your mask, but I wanted to make sure you was okay. And then she's like, okay, but I don't think you should have removed my mask because now you know who I am. And Livy's like, well, I didn't know what to do. And she's panting at this point because she's still dealing with the taking over of her mind, but Stereo's not in her mind at this point. She's just coming off of that. And Stereo starts to think, and she has blood coming down her face and stuff. And Livy goes, it's good to see you again, Stereo. You still have the same ocean blue eyes. I was just trying to help. Don't be mad at me, please. And then Stereo like smiles, and she's like, where's my mask and shit? And Livy's like, they're in my room. I'll go get it for you. And then she gives her her costume and her mask, and then Stereo goes, you expose me. If you expose me and who I am, I know where you live now, and I'll just come back here. So she's being a little threatening. Um, and then not stereo, Livy goes, understood, by the way, be careful. I don't know who they was, but they banged you up pretty good. And then at this point, stereo is at the window, and she's like, well, they got me alone, so that was smart, but I have to go, so bye. And then back at the White Hat base, Stereo's real name is actually Maxie Yeager, and she's age 32. She shows up at the base and passes out because obviously she's still hurt. And her fellow heroes, Bomb Bomb, his real name is Gutmander Anderson, and Captain Victory, whose real name is Ellie Lars, rushed to her aid because she just fell out at this point. And then they take Maxie to the healer of the base because he has healing powers, and he's also their costume maker. And his name is Jackson, and he looks over her, and Jackson goes, "I'm tracking the wounds and the people who did this to her," because he can by touch he can receive a story of what's going on. So he can also look into you too and see what's going on. And then Captain Victory's like, "Who did this?" And then Jackson's like, "Oh fuck, they are like us, these people who attacked her, and they're really powerful and can manipulate our powers." And then Bomb Bomb is like really they can, and he's like, "I thought the government killed all of their kind because there's a certain kind of people with these powers that can manipulate, but they thought they was all dead from the experiment." So experiment counts. So that's all I have right now, so I hope you like it.